Hi, hello, and welcome to Geetha's Cooking. Let's always spice up our life, shall we? Today's recipe is Chana Masala or Chole Masala, and it's a Punjabi dish. The first process that we need to do is choke our chickpeas. I've taken 1 cup of dried chickpeas. Add sumptuous amount of water to the chickpeas and soak it for about good 8 hours. I've done it overnight. We are now ready to pressure cooker. Add all our chickpeas including the water that we soaked in and add 2 or 3 more cups of water. To that we will be adding our spices in a spice bag with 1 or 2 tea bags, a bay leaf, 3 or 4 cloves, star anise and a piece of cinnamon. The spice bag helps with the infusion better, and you can also extract the bag later on, and it also helps you from taking the spices out later. Add the required amount of salt to it, and you can set your pressure cooker with the seal on. I am going to set it up for about 30 minutes. If you have a normal pressure cooker, you would need about 5 or 6 whistles for it. The pressure has settled and we are now opening our pressure cooker. You can see the color has infused nicely into the water. That's because of the tea bags that we've added in. Let's now take the spice bag out, and we are going to keep the water and the chickpeas separate. Do not throw the water out. The chickpea has boiled really well. You can check that by just pressing it, and you can see that it's nicely boiled. Take the water and the chickpea separately. Keep them separate. We will be using that water a bit later for further cooking. You can see the color of the chickpea. It's beautiful. Time to start our cooking now. We will start off by adding oil and ghee and wait for them to heat up first. Once it's ready, we will be adding our cumin seeds. As per normal, wait for the seeds to splutter. When the seeds are nice and ready and infused into the oil, we will then add our green chilies. Green chilies, I'm going to split them first. If you want, you can add them as whole. I've split my chilies, then followed by onions. Now the onions, chilies and the cumin seeds will need to fry well. One thing that I just noticed is I'm getting a lot of smoke when I am frying this. That's probably because I probably had it on a high flame. So always remember to cook it in a low or a medium flame when you are frying or sauteing or your onions and tomatoes or anything. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil, and I'm also bringing it to saute low in my setting so I can fry this gently and take my time in doing so. The onions will have to be fried into a golden brown color, as it's a key ingredient for all the Punjabi dishes, and they fry all their raw ingredients really well before adding the chickpea or paneer or anything else to it. I can see it's nicely sizzling, so time to add tomatoes. Once the tomatoes are added, mix them well again. Take your time again in getting all these cooked together and sauteed together. So tomatoes are mixed well, and I will also be adding a pinch of salt. We will add ginger garlic paste to our mixture and start sauteing all of it together again. The ginger garlic paste, the onions, tomatoes, cumin and the oil and the ghee will have to mix really well. I will be sauteing this for another minute or so. You may think that we are doing a lot of sauteing in this dish, but that's the secret of all of these dishes to taste so well. It comes in the tempering and also it comes in the sauteing process. If the raw ingredients, if the raw vegetables such as the tomatoes and onions are cooked and mashed up well, what then happens is when we start adding the spice powders, it goes in well. So now I'm adding my coriander powder, followed by cumin seeds powder, now the red chili powder. So there's all these three powders, and then we are going to mix them all together. Now you will notice the masalas, the spice powders, will be absorbed really well into the tomatoes and the onion, and the oil will start coming out. Once this is done, I'm also adding some Garam Masala powder. Garam Masala powder, if you don't have it on hand, it's okay, you can give it a miss, because you've already added whole spices when we were boiling the chickpeas. Again, we will be sauteing all these powders, because powders also have a raw smell, so we need to make sure that they are added well. We will also have to make sure that when sauteing, that our powders don't get burnt. So the water that I've saved earlier, I'm going to start adding it into the mixture gradually. This is the first scoop of water that I've added, because I feel that these spices are starting to get burnt, and you don't want that burnt smell. And this is why I also asked you to save that water earlier, because it's got a lot of nutrients in it. I'm going to add another ladle, because it's already absorbed. Earlier on, the spices have absorbed, so I'm adding another ladle of water. So this, you will notice, I will do throughout the sauteing process about 3 or 4 times. You can add more or less, it's your choice. It's just the water that you've kept aside, so feel free to adjust the water content according to the burning of it. I'm also adding something called Amchur powder. You're going, I can hear you saying, oh my god, what powder is this? This is nothing but the raw mango powder. Reason for adding that is it gives a bit of sourness to the dish. We will need some sourness. If you don't have Amchur powder, you can always use a lemon or some yogurt, and that's also fine. Notice I'm adding more water, because I've just given some Amchur powder and I want that flavor to go in as well. So bring the Amchur powder, more of that water, bit more sauteing. This whole process so far, you will notice I've been doing it for about 5 to 7 minutes, because of the infusion of the powders that we are putting one by one. Do not rush this process, because if you taste the raw smell, it won't taste delicious at all. Coriander leaves, mint leaves, all of that can also be added. I'm adding a pinch of coriander, fresh coriander at this stage, so to enhance the flavors a bit more. So bring that all in and mash it. You can actually see it's mashed up really well and the oil has oozed out. Time to add our chickpeas now. So add all our chickpeas, including the water and the whole works. Start giving it a stir so the chickpeas can mix really well with the masalas, and the masalas will have to be infused properly. We will then add the rest of the water that we've saved up. As I said, it's got a lot of nutrients, so make sure it's all added and then cooked well. I make sure it's in the water content is your choice, so make sure it is semi gravy or watery, that's up to you. I'm going to make it a semi gravy. Add required amount of salt, give it all a good mix again and boil it for, say, I would say about another 3 to 4 minutes, because the chana will start to tighten up and you will know the gravy is ready. There you are, it's boiling really well and I know it's ready to be served very soon. If you don't have, by the way, if you don't have dried chickpeas, you can also use the canned chickpeas. So do not panic if you don't have the dried chickpeas at all. So that even saves more time. Here we go. It's all nice and ready to be served up. You can tell by the color, by the texture, the aroma, everything is just, I can smell it all here. It's really nice. Time to start serving up soon. There you go. You can tell it's ready. I'm going to bring it into a platter now. Serve it with some garnished onion because it tastes really well. Punjabi dishes are served with some fresh garnished onions. It can be served with some chapatis or rice or naan. They also have a bit of a butter to it. Enjoy and let me know what you think of it, guys. Thank you very much. Try it out. This is a really nice, delicious dish.